Hello world! Guess what we are checking out today? Dun 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 dun. The Urban Decay Moondust palette! Hey everybody, Shelly here, and today we are going to check out something that has been so much fun for me in the past week that I've had it, and that is the Urban Decay Moondust palette. Yay! So much fun, so much fun. It is beautiful, it is a lot of fun. It impressed me in a lot of ways that I was not expecting. So in this video I'm going to run through this palette, what it's got, what I think of it, what my first impressions have been over this past week of using it. I will show you how I got this eye look, and we'll swatch it out and check out all the details. So the Moondust palette from Urban Decay has 8 new Moondust shades, which are their twinkly, glittery, sparkly colors, that same formula. They're new shades that you haven't previously been able to get through their Moondust singles. There's 0.2 ounces of shadow in each of these little pans, and so for size comparison, there's my index finger. I do have small hands. Comes with a full-size mirror and the 8 shadows. Now, these are all glittery shadows, so this is what I would call a specialty palette, one that you've got to use supplemental shadows with it unless you're going full-on glitter, which if you're like me and you've got hooded eyes, I really can't wear anything glittery on the crease or hood of my eye because it just makes that hood look very prominent and it overshadows the entire rest of my look. So I do need to supplement any kind of look that I do with these glittery Moondust shadows with some matte shadows, which do not come in this palette. So to me, this is a specialty palette. If you've got perfect eyes and you can get away with using glitter everywhere, maybe you can make a complete look out of this palette, and congratulations, I'm very jealous. But in my case, this is a palette that does require supplementation with some matte shades from a different palette. Now the glitter in these shades is really, really nice. It is not chunky at all. It's really microfine bits of glitter that apply really smoothly, and there's so very little fallout for what I expected with a glittery shadow like this. There is still a little bit of fallout, don't get me wrong, but it's not chunky, messy fallout the way you would think with traditional glitter. So here are the 8 shades up close. And for today's look, I'm going to be using the sort of reddish pink shade here called Element, and the light pink shade here called Spectre. And these are all beautiful colors. Like I said, I've been wearing this for about a week now, and the only thing that is missing to me is a yellow gold. There's a sort of a bronzy gold, but I have had a desire for a more yellow, golder gold tone in this palette. But that's okay. I can check the Moondust collection and get a single. It'll be fine. I will survive. I love this palette. I really do. The packaging is gorgeous. It's this sort of metallized, glittery, iridescent-y, beautiful thing. It does have a magnetic closure, so it's easy to travel with. It's a really sturdy packaging, so I'm not too worried about throwing it into a bag or a suitcase or whatnot if I need to take it with me on the go. It's really pretty. It's beautiful. It really, it's really, really pretty. I have swatched it out. I've got all of these swatches. Whoa. I can't turn my arm in a way that you can see them. I've got all of these swatches on my arm. Let me put up a photo of them that is a little bit easier to see. So I have swatched all of these shadows on primer. So what I put beneath them was the Wet n Wild eyeshadow primer. And then I used a flat shadow brush, also a Wet n Wild brush coincidentally, to swatch them on my arm and wiped the brush clean in between each swatch. I have had a ton of fun playing with this palette, and today I'm going to show you guys how I got this eye look, which is going to take advantage of that reddish pinkish shade within the Moondust palette. I am going to supplement the Moondust palette with a few Makeup Geek eyeshadows. Not all of these, just a handful of them. You can use any shadows that you've got in similar colors and tones. It's really not necessary to have exactly the same eyeshadows that I'm using. I will link all of these down below in the down bar so you can find these products if you are looking for them. So let's take a look at how to get this makeup look. Alright, I'm starting out with sunscreen and moisturizer on my face. I have not yet done my foundation or concealer because these shadows have a little bit of fallout and I don't want to have to touch all of that up, so I'm going to do the foundation and concealer after the eyes, and that way I can just clean it up at that point. I have already applied Wet n Wild eyeshadow primer. This is becoming a new favorite. It's really similar to me to the Too Faced Shadow Insurance primer, and it's like $4, and I've worn it out in the heat and humidity, and my eyeshadow stays really well, so good stuff. The first step I like to do, I wear eyeshadow primer every time I put eyeshadow on, so I do like to go in and set my primer with a nude shadow. I'm going to be working out of a Makeup Geek palette that I've put together, so this one on the end is called Sand Dollar. It's just a white neutral shadow. If you're not as pale as me, you'll probably want to use something more skin toned, but I can really get away with pretty light colors because my skin is basically transparent. So all I want to do is just sort of set my primer so that the rest of my shadows will go on nice and smoothly, and I'm just using a large shadow brush. This is from Wet n Wild. Next up, I just want to lay down a bright shadow that is going to sort of act as a base that'll be a little bit tacky for these Moondust shadows to cling to. So I'm going to go in with the NYX Jumbo Eye Pencil Crayon, and this is in the color Milk, which is just white. You can do the same thing with a black crayon to give everything a deep, dark, more intense, darker effect. So I'm going to go bright, and this really is just to give something a little tacky. The MAC Paint Pot would be something that would work in this scenario as well. And I'm just going to put this on my mobile lid in the inner, say, 2/3 of my mobile lid, because I do want to use some other colors to blend into the crease and whatnot, and I don't necessarily need them to be super intense there. How do I do this without flipping you guys off? I'm just going to pat this out with my finger. I would usually use my ring finger, but that is going to look a little too much like I'm giving you guys the bird, and I'm not intending to give you the bird. I'm really not used to looking at myself with these dark circles under my eyes. I can't wait for concealer. Now I want to lay down some of the blending shadows. I'm going to start with all of my matte and blending shadows and then finish up with the glitter. So first I'm going to start with this Sigma tapered blending brush. It's the E25. This brush is really great if you have hooded eyes. It's a flat side, so you could use it to pack shadow onto the lid, but it's also a tapered end, so it fits really well into the crease for us hooded eye people who have a droopy sort of hood above their crease. I need to bring my matte shadows just a little bit above the crease onto the hood, otherwise they disappear behind the hood. So the E25 is my favorite brush for that. And I'm going to go in with Crème Brulee from Makeup Geek. Hello there, can you see me? And I'm just going to take this basically above my crease. If you're not dealing with hooded eyes, you might keep this in the crease, but I'm going in and above my crease so that I can get it up onto the hood of my eye so that it actually is visible when I open my eye. Because when I look at you straight on, do you see how most of my crease really disappears? Oh my god, there's a Pokemon. Caught a Bellsprout. Next, I'm going to darken the outer third. I'm going to use this Makeup Geek shade called Bitten. I'm just going to apply this really in the outer third and bring it just a little into my crease. This is a little bit darker than the Moondust shadow that I'm going to be applying on the lid, but it'll give a little bit of dimension and a little darkness to the inside of my crease. I'm not bringing it totally all the way to the center of my eye or above my crease onto the hood. I just want it in the crease. Really, people are only going to see this on me when I'm blinking because, again, when I open my eyes, it disappears. But it does give a little bit of dimension, and since most of the time you're not just talking to people like this, you can get a little more leeway with the colors you use, even if you've got hooded lids, because you're going to be blinking and moving and things like that. And to sort of warm that up just a little bit, I'm going to go into the Makeup Geek shade Mocha, and I'm just going to put this teeny tiny bit in that outer 7. Everyone calls it the outer V, but on me it really looks like a 7. I don't know why. And it's just, I'm just trying to kind of warm up this little outer corner because that Bitten is kind of a cool red. I am going to darken this up a little bit with some black. I think the black shade, what do they call it? Corrupt in the Makeup Geek world. I'm going to use the absolute tiniest bit. I'm going to use a pencil brush as I make all kinds of noise. This is a It Cosmetics pencil brush, and I'm just gonna put the tiniest bit into this outer 7, outer V, if you will. And then I'm going to use my absolute favorite blending brush. This is the Morphe M505, and I love this brush for blending. I've got no product on it. I'm just darkening that little outer V. And once that's blended, I'm going to go in with just a little bit more Bitten to sort of de-harsh it and get some of that red back. Now it gets fun. We're going to tap into Moondust. This palette's so gorgeous. I can't even handle it. So I'm going to be using this shade called Element. It is a really fun shade in this palette because it can play to the pink side, it can play to the orange side, it can play to a red side, it can blend into purple. It is just this really fun shade to work with. I'm going to be sort of pulling it pinkish gold is my intention here. So we'll see how we do. Now these shadows, because there's so much glitter in them, they do have a little bit of fallout, but I will say it is far less fallout than I ever expected these shadows to have. So that is a really good thing, but it is one reason you probably want to do your eyes before you do the rest of your face, or wear those little shadow shield little tape things that you can put under your eyes. I don't have any of those, so I'm just going to do my foundation and concealer last. But the other thing with applying these shadows is you don't want to rub into them. You want to tap into them to pick the color up. And then when you apply it on your eyes, you also don't want to rub it in or brush it in. You want to tap and press it in, because you will have less fallout that way and you'll get a higher color payoff. Another thing that can help you to get a higher color payoff, they can be used wet or dry, but you will get more color out of them if you use them damp or wet. And what I like to do, where is it? Here we go. I like to use a setting spray. So this is the Wet n Wild Photo Focus Photo Focus All Day Wear Vaporizer Day Fixion something. Oh, there's the English. It's just called setting spray. Oh my. So what I like to do is pick up shadow onto my brush, then give it a squirt with the setting spray, and then press it onto my eyes. So we're going to use that reddish shade Element. And let me just show you. So, can I do this while looking into the camera? So I'm just going to press a few times. Press, press, press. And you see how it picks up the color? Let me show you how much is on here. So just pressing my brush into it, and this is just a flat shadow brush. This is an Ulta small eyeshadow brush. I don't really recommend this brush just because it's kind of falling apart and I haven't even had it that long. I prefer the It Cosmetics small shadow brush. I'm going to take my brush and my setting spray and give it a spray. And totally miss. So then wave your brush into this mist so that you get it back. Okay. I'm going to press that onto the remaining... Oh gosh, do you see what's happening? Oh my god, I love it, I love it. And I'm going to keep this down on my mobile lid. I'm not going to go up into my crease or above my crease. I'm also not going to go all the way to the edge. We're going to blend out with that Bitten color so that we have a sort of a smooth gradation. Now note with these shadows, you will have to go back into the pan a few times. You're not going to get the ultimate layering and payoff in one swipe because there's glitter and there's some fragments of glitter and it's chunky and you need to lay it down, and if you want to get full coverage, you really do need to go back into the pan. And that is not saying that the shadows aren't pigmented. It's just this style of shadow you will need to dip back into the pan a couple of times, and that's fine. Most shadows, I would say that indicates that they're not very pigmented. In this case, that's not the case at all. It's a different kind of a shadow. I'll go back once more with a little bit of Bitten to blend the dark into the light here. And I'm going to go back with my Sigma E25 and just a little bit more of that Crème Brulee and just soften out the edges here. Lastly, I'm going to take a little bit of this Spectre, this very light pink shade, and use that in the inner corner as an inner corner highlight. I like to put down a little bit dry, then pick up a little more on my brush, give it a spray. Ooh, I think I got it that time. And then go in. Alright, I'm going to go put on the rest of my face and then I will come back and we'll finish these eyes. Alright, just went with my favorite combo right now of the It Cosmetics CC Cream in Fair with my Smashbox 15-hour hydrating primer foundation in, I think it's shade 2.1. Mix those two together, love it. I'll have all the products that I've used on my face linked down below. I did have to go in with some erase paste, so I'm going to have to redo my inner corner highlight because, whoa, the dark circles are screaming today. So I'm going to take a smoky liner brush, this is an It Cosmetics brush, and I'm going to dip back into Bitten from Makeup Geek and use that just on the under liner on my lower lash line. Make sure you can see, oh, look at those circles. Do your eyes get super dry when you're putting eye makeup on? Like, I don't know, maybe I'm staring funny or I'm not blinking enough, I don't know. Then I'm going to go back with that same E25 Sigma blending brush that I was using with just a tiny bit of Crème Brulee and blend this out. Fix that inner corner highlight with the Urban Decay Spectre. One last Crème Brulee blend because you can never have too much blending. I think I'm going to take just a little bit of that Spectre pink and go up under the brow bone. I know it's a little glittery, which might be a little weird, but I'm feeling it right now. Eyeliner is going to be Kat Von D's Tattoo Liner in Trooper. curl the lashes. For mascara, I've been trying out this Rimmel Super Curler 24-hour mascara volume and curl, and I really like it. It's kind of a big, fat, chunky brush, but it's got a nice curved shape to it, and I'm trying not to spill things. Ta-da! And I really like it for my upper lashes. Now, the wand is a little bit too chunky for my lower lashes, but we're going to get to that in a second. Does anyone else have the problem where I sleep on this side of my face and these lashes at the edge of this eye, they like point inward instead of outward because I sleep with them smushed to the pillow all night? And it's like, I have to like train them to stay facing outward. I never claim to be normal, people. So for my lower lash line, I am one of those people that goes through Q-tips like crazy because every time I apply my mascara on my lower lash line, I'm just drawing it all over my face like a toddler. So I've found two different mascaras that have wands that make it really easy for us scribblers to apply mascara on the lower lash line. And the first is the IT Cosmetics Tightline mascara that just came out. And because its wand is so tiny, I can get my little lower lashes without drawing all over the place. Now, if you don't want to drop that much money on the Tightline mascara, honestly, I'm not super impressed with it in terms of using it for my upper lashes. It's okay, but I like a heavier eyeliner, so the whole concept of tight lining with just mascara at the roots is not really enough for me. But if you want a drugstore version that has a similar brush, this L'Oreal Telescopic mascara is similar. It's not quite as tiny, but it's very small and there's very little bristles, and it's a little brush, and it makes it very easy to mascara-ize your lower lashes. If it's wrong to have a separate mascara for your upper and lower lashes, I don't want to be right. Last for the eyes, waterline, and my favorites are the Urban Decay 24/7 waterline pencils. I have these in Legend, which is black, and Walk of Shame, which is a nude color, so I use the nude on my lower lash line. Oh, forgot my beauty blender, hold on. This little trick of holding your eye down with your beauty blender really does help. I feel like I don't make as much of a mess with my concealer and my foundation doing this, and I'm not tugging at my skin so much. And this just takes some of the redness out of my inner rim. And I'll use Legend on the upper to tightline. For lips, I've got the Urban Decay Sheer Rapture. This is from their previous line, but they do have this shade available in the new Vice lipstick line as well. Time to add some setting spray and call it a day. This is my new favorite. It's from Supergoop. It is their Defense Refresh Setting Mist with Rosemary. And you know why this is so awesome? It is SPF 50. So now I would not use this as my only sunscreen protection. However, once you've been outside for a little while, if you've got makeup on, it's really hard to put sunscreen on your face and refresh your sunscreen because you've got foundation, you've got whatever. Ta-da! Now, there were some complaints in the reviews. I don't even really understand why they complained. I've been out in the sun for hours. I've used this to refresh my sunscreen protection throughout the day and just to refresh myself. It smells wonderful. It's really minty, sort of refreshing scent to it. It feels lovely. It works as a setting spray. I have zero complaints. Now, one of the things it does say on the cap is shake well. And I'm guessing that is a pretty important part of this because if you don't shake it up, it's probably not going to work as well. So shake it up. and then mist away. My only complaint with it is that the spray is a little forceful. I can see the mist. Can you see the mist? But it's a little bit forceful, so the first time I sprayed it, I was like, got me in the eye! But once you get used to it, you get the hang of it, you get a feel for how this sprayer works. I love this stuff. It's good stuff. There you have it, my finished look with the new Urban Decay Moondust palette. If you would like to see more looks with this palette, please give me a thumbs up and a comment below on what colors you'd be interested in seeing. Please subscribe if you haven't already. Thank you for stopping by and spending some time with me here on my channel. I greatly appreciate it. I know you've got lots of choices out there and lots of busy things to do, so thank you for stopping by and spending some time with me. Have yourselves a wonderful day, wonderful rest of your week, wonderful evening wherever you are. Take care of each other. Catch those Pokemon. Bye-bye.